Hi, me personally, I really enjoy playing games. Whether it's popular ones like Elden Ring or more niche ones like XCOM 2, I've definitely been around becoming a strategic mastermind in a world overrun by aliens. I've spent a considerable amount of time playing these games, easily more than 1,000 hours total, practically more than a whole month and a quarter. It's easy to get entangled in this rabbit hole of gaming, which is why I want to see if I can actually learn some things by analyzing games and sort of reverse engineer what makes them so addictive in real life. So in this video, I want to take some lessons out of these digital worlds and apply them to an experimental mindset that I call the life game. I'm going to walk you through a gamified narrative and then go on to tell you how you can apply some positive lessons out there to shift your mindset. Don't worry, you don't actually need to have ever touched a game to understand the majority of things that I'm about to talk about. Sometimes life is like a video game. When things get harder and the obstacles get tougher, it just means you leveled up, a little pace. Let's discern the biggest difference between real life and in-game. In the first place, what even is the appeal of video games for some of us? Why have there always been day in our lives where instead of finishing an assignment early, we burst ourselves in the world of GTA 5 or played Minecraft for hours on end to get that sweet diamond armor to finally slay the Ender Dragon? Rarely ever will you finish a game and tell yourself, man, I'm so glad I did not study. Video games follow that typical narrative of you kind of increasing your character's skills by slaying foes, tasks, getting rewards, or some form of currency that will lead to obtaining better tools to complete the underlying narrative. A big portion of characters have one goal in mind. Once you're ready, your character gets access to new locations and more difficult tasks and more spicy loot. So as the narrative progresses, your character can take on quests and missions that they previously would not have been able to achieve. It's meant to be addictive. On the other hand, after all that progression, older quests you may have skipped out on or are repeatable just seem so boring now in comparison. I mean, it makes sense, right? Why do something with so little effort will barely be able to provide you with a satisfying reward? This game that we call life, a notable character called Bill Gates probably stands amongst the most successful people that increased his stats from 0. Nevertheless, he stayed up late and kept playing. If he was asked to take on older quests like, say, programming some kind of game through Python like Snake, he would probably laugh and say something like, why? I have a business and billions of assets to manage. I mean, it makes sense. He would make way more money managing Microsoft than actually being an intern. Of course, somebody needs to start somewhere. Take James Altucher. He's a character who decided to reset his progress on multiple occasions, starting new playthroughs by keeping his knowledge of entrepreneurship. Somehow, people with high-level skills take joy in participating in lower to mid-tier quests, like in the TV show Undercover Billionaire. Self-made millionaires or billionaires get a car, $100, and 90 days to build businesses that are valued over $1 million. More commonly known as the high-ranked chef, Gordon Ramsay, who often works in his own restaurants undercover for entertainment. Let's take a step back from this narrative and ask ourselves the question, why can progression within games be so addictive while actual life isn't? Why shouldn't you take joy in learning new skills that will help you out in future quests? You level up after completing a difficult task, just like a character in a video game does after all. Well, at their core, games make these experiences tangible. Your life doesn't really have a clear sense of progression, and you often don't even know what the goal at the end of the road might be. Games with romance options like Sims or Stardew Valley simply require a character to spend time with this romanceable character until their attraction meter is maxed out. Once your character, for example, asks them out on a date or wants to marry them, your character is pretty much just guaranteed to succeed. Your life, more often than not, you're meant to fail in order to learn out of this experience. Try again, again, and again, and hopefully, maybe, finally succeed. You're meant to build your character through failure continuously. It's only when you learn how to treat these failures that you will make skyrocketing process. Simple, right? But it gets difficult if you only have one try. An important entrance exam, a once-in-a-lifetime company pitch, a test of everything you've done up until now, and to prove to yourself that you've been working earnestly and hard. In games, they'd be boss fights, and you can try them as many times as you want. You can even take breaks, cheat, or ask others to do them for you. So don't take it as me saying, oh, just quit playing video games and start upgrading your character in real life. It doesn't work like that. You and I both know that. If you want to become rich and successful, then you'll quickly realize that the learning curve is much steeper in real life. Characters automatically come equipped with most skills necessary to actually work their way towards their goal, while we have to prioritize the individual skills that we may find necessary. Let's think about the previous question. We know that games have an addictive built-in progression factor that rewards you and that your character is most of the time meant to actually reach their goal. So let's discuss 4 metaphoric key points that this kind of mentality consists of. It's a simplified framework backed by the literature that I've read. Quick quests. For example, if you want your dream job in a famous tech company, sure as heck know that the manager isn't gonna reach out to you and simply ask if you want to work there and make more than 6 digits a year. Completing an ultra marathon. You need to find a way to become that kind of person who would want to do these kind of things. Which kind of person do you, the most important character of them all, want to become? Which quests you need to complete? What journeys must you undertake? Which battles must you win? And what rewards will you obtain? I suggest writing these things down. Create a roadmap, like an Excel sheet with weekly or monthly goals. For more on that, check out this video. That video I talked about how to break down your goals into digestible bits. It becomes very evident that in order to work at this well-paying tech company or to get into a prestigious college, it would be superficial to merely note down, apply, and complete. If, for example, you wanted to get into college like that, you'd need to complete a lot of extracurricular activities, have a high grade average, and just so much more. So you'd write down a portion of activities you need to participate in to get a better standing, or which subjects in school you need a better grade in, and when submitting your application. From there, it gets more specific. And once you have a clear list of sub-goals or quests, you need to start executing. At the beginning of each week, I write down weekly goals or revise my already existing tasks. Like for the week that I'm writing the script, I already plan to go to 3 get-togethers of different clubs and meet new people, and university lectures, but I'm also now just planning my training routine where I want to go to the glacier and ski. An important tip that I would say goes often overlooked is that you should also reflect on these tasks. So did you complete them? If so, how well? And what did you struggle with? One thing about goal setting that I can say is that it's absolutely necessary not to talk about. I think we often tell our friends or family all these things that we're gonna do, and that moment of rambling releases dopamine, and the same kind of dopamine that we actually feel when we want to work towards our goal. So if we tell everybody our goals, we end up unmotivated to further pursue them because we tricked our brain in thinking that we kind of already achieved it. So keep your goals to yourself. Also just makes you seem so much more humble and passionate. That realization struck me when I decided to learn how to create content for YouTube. It was only when I had my first 5 videos produced that I started telling people after having spent 3 months learning how to script, film, and edit. These processes are often very dynamic. Quests in a game often remain static. You don't need to adapt very much, especially because you know that one way or the other, you're going to be able to try again. So everything is pre-calculated. But in real life, rarely anything will ever guarantee you're going to reach your goal. Maybe you catch a cold before an important game of football, or maybe you're in traffic and run late for your final exam in uni. What you can do is to make sure that prime your environment so that you can maybe prevent these things from happening. Dress up warm to avoid getting sick, or go early to the exam site. Take as much control as you can and achieve absolute ownership over your environment. A different environment is entirely psychological. If you wanted to do a set of push-ups at home or in a gym, which do you think will be easier? Both would be possible, but what about an entire training, even if it's just body weight? At home, you'll have so many more options. Maybe the food in the fridge is looking extra tasty. You could prioritize other tasks like office work, or maybe the laundry has just finished. At the gym, you can only train. So to execute most habits, use friction. Make tasks as easy and irresistible as possible, that you will actually never be able to say no before executing them. Often only just focus on one task at a time to see if this little change can actually improve the execution. The more tasks you chain up, the more drastically the quality may drop. And these things sure aren't comfortable as well. You need to start embracing discomfort instead of resisting it. Author Nick Bear says that he will need to get used to this pleasure and learn how to control it. Once you can, discomfort will become a drive and act more like a power-up that will let you rise up to the occasion. I think we often forget that when we play games. Comfortably sitting in our seats, we control a character from a first or third perspective. This pain isn't ours, so we're able to comfortably run into a cave full of traps and just kind of learn where they are and just try again. There's no reason for us to actually leave our comfort zone doing that. But it's more important to note that there's a learning zone between comfort and panic. The more you start exposing yourself to it, the wider its width will become and the easier it will be to take on new tasks that previously seemed daunting and impossible to overcome. And at the end, it's also just satisfying to prove something to yourself. Achieving new milestones is awesome. Reward positive habits by making them satisfying. Figure out a reward system that isn't over the top and keep you hungry for more. Complete one difficult task and chain it together with something that is easy and fulfills you positively. It tricks your brain into thinking that positive rewards come after accomplishment. We always try and reward ourselves for doing little to nothing. Then our brain thinks that these things are just for granted. So if the dopamine spike goes up through things like smoking or candy entirely at will, it makes us realize that there's no apparent reason to actually work hard for its free influx of dopamine and positive emotions. Now, wary adventurer, I hope you're gonna find some use for these couple of skills in your journey. Like the switch in your brain and overcome adversity like a hero. As usual, please like the video for the algorithm and subscribe to the channel. I wish you a very nice day. Bye bye.